Admiral Thomas Reed stood at the bridge window of the U.S. Vengeance, watching the stars drift by. His weathered hands gripped the steel railing as memories of burning colonies filled his mind. 6 months had passed since the Dominium started their attacks. 6 months of watching humanity's outposts fall one by one. "Admiral, we're receiving the latest battle reports," called out Lieutenant Pete Wilson from his station. The young officer's face had grown pale as he read the data. "Titan colony. It's gone, sir. They hit it 3 hours ago." Reed's knuckles turned white on the railing. Titan colony, where Lucy was stationed. His daughter. The thought of her made his chest tighten, but he forced himself to stay calm. A leader couldn't show weakness, not now when they needed him most. "How many survivors?" Reed asked, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. "Unknown, sir." Communications went dark after the first strike. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the Admiral's daughter had been there. They also knew now wasn't the time for sympathy. The U.S. Vengeance was humanity's last real hope, carrying a weapon that could change everything. Status report on the MDA. Reed turned to face the bridge crew. Chief Engineer Amanda Foster looked up from her screens. Her red hair was tied back messily, dark circles under her eyes showing how long she'd been working. "The molecular deconstruction array is at 98%, sir. We've never tested it at full power, but the simulations look promising." Reed nodded. The MDA was their secret weapon, built from technology they'd found in ancient ruins on Mars. The aliens had always said humans weren't ready for advanced weapons. They'd forced rules on Earth through their Galactic Council, keeping humanity weak. But they hadn't found the ruins first. They hadn't known what humans could do with the knowledge hidden there. "Plot a course for the Dominium forward base on Europa," Reed ordered. "It's time we showed them what happens when you corner humanity." The bridge crew moved with new energy. They'd trained for months for this moment. The Vengeance was beautiful and deadly, Earth's finest battleship. While other ships tried to copy alien designs, the Vengeance was pure human engineering. Strong angles of black steel, massive gun batteries, and hidden within the MDA. Foster walked up to stand beside Reed. "Sir, about Lucy," she started. "Not now, Amanda." Reed kept his eyes forward. "We have a job to do." "Yes, sir, but you should know. Titan's backup communications array might still be working. There's a chance." "I said not now." Reed's voice was firm but not unkind. "Focus on the MDA. We need it ready when we reach Europa." Through the window, Jupiter grew larger. The massive gas giant made their ship look tiny, but Reed knew size wasn't everything. The Dominium thought their bases were safe. They thought their shields could stop anything humans could build. They were wrong. "All hands, battle stations," Reed's voice echoed through the ship. "This is not a drill. Today we start taking back what's ours." The Vengeance's engines hummed louder as they approached Europa. On screens around the bridge, weapon systems came online. The MDA's power core pulsed with blue light, ready to turn matter itself to ash. Reed thought of Lucy again, of her smile the last time he'd seen her. "Hold on, sweetheart," he whispered. "Dad's coming." Then louder, to his crew. "Prepare for combat. The Dominium wanted a war. Let's give them one they'll never forget." Warning alerts flashed as enemy ships appeared on their scans. The Dominium had spotted them. Good. Reed wanted them to see what was coming. "Sir," Foster called out, "MDA is ready. All systems show green." Reed straightened his uniform and smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them Operation Ashes has begun." He paused, looking at each member of his brave crew. "Let's show the galaxy why you don't push humanity too far." The Vengeance moved forward, its black hull reflecting Jupiter's light. They were one ship against an empire, but sometimes one ship was all you needed, especially when that ship carried humanity's fury within it. The battle for Europa was about to begin. Chief Engineer Amanda Foster hadn't slept in 20 hours. She stood in the heart of the U.S. Vengeance, surrounded by humming machines and blinking lights. The molecular deconstruction array took up most of the room, its core glowing with an eerie blue light that made everything look underwater. "Run the test again," she told her team. The battle for Europa was coming, and the weapon had to work perfectly. Ted Brooks, her assistant engineer, typed commands into his console. "Running test sequence 47. The MDA's core pulsed brighter. In the testing chamber, a thick piece of alien metal, stolen from a Dominium ship, began to break apart. It didn't melt or explode. Instead, it simply turned to gray dust, coming apart at the atomic level. "Power draw is steady," Ted reported. "Temperature normal. It's working better than ever." Amanda smiled. The weapon shouldn't have been possible. The Dominium had told humans for hundreds of years that this kind of technology was beyond them. But they'd found the truth in those Mars ruins, proof that ancient humans had been far more advanced than anyone knew. The ship's comm system crackled. "Engineering, this is the bridge. Status report." "Foster here," she answered. "The MDA is ready, Admiral. You should see what it just did to that Dominium armor plate. Good work. We'll need it soon. Read out." Amanda walked to the testing chamber and picked up a handful of gray dust. Just an hour ago, this had been the strongest metal in known space. The Dominium used it in all their bases and ships. They thought it made them invincible. "Chief," Ted called out suddenly. "You need to see this." She walked to his station. On his screen, new data scrolled past. The MDA was doing something unexpected. It was learning. Each test made it more efficient, more powerful. "Look here," Ted pointed. "The decay pattern is evolving. It's not just breaking things down anymore. It's getting smarter about it." Amanda's eyes widened. "Pull up the original Mars data." Ancient symbols and diagrams filled the screen. They'd thought they'd understood it all, but now she saw something new. The weapon wasn't just a weapon. It was alive, in its own way. It adapted. "This changes everything," she whispered. The ship's alarm suddenly blared. "All hands to battle stations." Admiral Reed's voice boomed. "Dominium ships detected. This is not a drill." Amanda turned to her team. "Lock down all stations. Switch to battle power. Ted, stay on those readings. If the MDA does anything else unexpected, I want to know right away." The engineering room erupted into action. Through the walls, they could feel the Vengeance's engines powering up. They were about to find out if all their work would pay off. "Chief Foster to the bridge. Urgent," Amanda called over the comm. "What is it?" Reed answered. "Sir, the MDA. It's more than we thought. It's adaptive. Each time we use it, it gets better at breaking down whatever it targets. The Dominium's bases won't just be destroyed. They'll help make the weapons stronger." There was a pause. "How is that possible?" "The ruins, sir. We didn't just find a weapon. We found something alive. Something that learns." Another pause. Then, "Can you control it?" Amanda looked at the pulsing blue core. "Yes, sir. It wants to help us. I can feel it." "Very well. Stand by for combat." The ship shuddered as it moved into attack position. Amanda walked to the MDA's control station and placed her hands on the panel. The blue light seemed to reach for her. "They tried to keep us down," she told it softly. "They said we weren't ready for real power. But they were wrong. We just needed to remember who we used to be." The weapon hummed in response, its light growing stronger. Through the ship's walls, Amanda could hear the distant sound of human guns firing at Dominium ships. The battle had begun. She thought of all the human colonies that had burned, of Admiral Reed's daughter Lucy, lost on Titan, of centuries of alien races looking down on Earth. "Time to show them what humanity can really do," she said, and began the MDA's power-up sequence. The weapon that shouldn't exist was about to change the galaxy forever. Lieutenant Robert Hayes stared at his tactical screen as the U.S. Vengeance approached Europa. 5 Dominium warships blocked their path, their crystal shields glowing in the dim light of distant Jupiter. Behind them stood the massive alien base, its gray towers reaching up from Europa's icy surface. "Enemy ships are charging weapons," he reported to Admiral Reed. "Their shields are at maximum power." Reed stood calm at the center of the bridge. "Show them what human guns can do, Lieutenant. Clear us a path." The Vengeance's regular weapons opened fire first. Red beams struck the alien shields, lighting up space. The Dominium ships didn't even move. Their shields were too strong for normal attacks. "As expected, sir," Robert said. "Their shields are holding." "Good." Reed smiled. "That's what they get for being predictable." "Foster, is the MDA ready?" Amanda's voice came through the comm. "Ready, sir. Target locked on the lid ship." "Fire." Robert watched his screen as the MDA activated. A beam of blue light shot from the Vengeance, different from anything he'd seen before. It hit the lead Dominium ship's shields. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the shields began to turn gray. The gray spread like water across their surface. Where it touched, the mighty shields simply fell apart into dust. "By all the stars," Robert whispered. The Dominium ship tried to retreat, but it was too late. The MDA's beam touched its hull, and the proud warship began to crumble. In seconds, where a mighty alien vessel had been, there was nothing but a cloud of gray ash floating in space. Panic spread through the enemy fleet. Their ships broke formation, trying to escape. But the Vengeance was faster now, hunting them down one by one. "Sir," Robert called out, "I'm picking up their communications. They're terrified. They've never seen anything like this." Reed nodded. "Send a message to their base. Tell them to surrender." The base's answer came quickly, more ships launching from Europa's surface. They thought numbers would save them. They were wrong. "Foster," Reed called, "how's the MDA performing?" "Better than ever, sir," she answered. "Each ship it destroys makes it more efficient. It's learning their weaknesses." The battle turned into a slaughter. Dominium ships fell apart into clouds of gray dust. Their mighty shields, the same technology they'd used to bully humanity for centuries, meant nothing now. Robert watched it all through his tactical screen. He'd joined the Navy to protect Earth, to fight back against alien oppression, but he'd never imagined victory could look like this. "Sir," he said suddenly, "the base is powering up its main guns." The Dominium base on Europa was one of their strongest fortresses. Its weapons could destroy whole fleets. Energy gathered at the tips of its towers, ready to strike. "Target those towers, Lieutenant," Reed ordered. "Let's see how their fortress holds up against the weapon they said we couldn't have." Robert locked the targets and fired the MDA. Blue light washed over the base's defenses. The mighty towers began to crumble, turning to ash that fell like gray snow onto Europa's surface. "Incoming message from the base," Robert announced. "They're begging for mercy, sir." Reed's face hardened. "Tell them to think about the colonies they destroyed. About Titan. About all the times they told us we weren't ready for real power." The MDA's beams swept across the base. Buildings collapsed into dust. Defensive walls crumbled. The mighty fortress that had stood guard over Europa for centuries disappeared in minutes. When it was over, Robert checked his screens again. "No survivors detected, sir. The base it's just gone." Silence fell over the bridge. They had just destroyed one of the strongest Dominium bases in the solar system. Humanity's first real victory in this war. "Send word to Earth," Reed ordered. "Tell them Europa is ours again. And let the Dominium know. This is just the beginning." Robert sent the message, then looked out at the gray dust floating where their enemies had been. The aliens had always acted so superior, so certain of their power. Now they would learn what it meant to fear humanity. "Plot a course for the next target," Reed said. The Dominium is about to learn a very important lesson. Never underestimate human beings. The Vengeance turned away from Europa, leaving behind only clouds of gray ash, where mighty alien ships and fortresses had stood. The legend of the Grey Death had begun. Intelligence Officer Diana Wells sat in her dark office aboard the U.S. Vengeance, surrounded by screens showing intercepted alien messages. After the victory at Europa, Dominium communications had exploded with panic. She smiled as she translated their fearful words. "They're calling us the Grey Death," she told Admiral Reed, who stood reading her latest report. "Every Dominium ship now has orders to run if they see us coming." "Good," Reed said. "Fear will make them sloppy. What else have you found?" Diana pulled up more messages on her main screen. 3 weeks had passed since Europa, and they'd destroyed 2 more Dominium bases. Each victory made their enemies more afraid. "They're pulling ships back to defend their main worlds," she said, "but that's not the interesting part." She pointed to one message. "Look at this. They're talking about the great mistake, about how they should have never tried to keep humans weak." Reed leaned closer. "Can you break their security codes?" "Already did. The Dominium's so scared, they're making mistakes. Their messages are getting sloppy." Diana typed quickly, bringing up more translations. "They're fighting among themselves now. Some want to surrender. Others want to try one big attack to stop us." The ship's comm system buzzed. "Bridge to Admiral Reed. We've reached the Titan defense line." "On my way," Reed said. He turned to leave, then paused. "Keep digging, Officer Wells. Find me anything we can use." After he left, Diana went back to work. The Dominium's messages were like pieces of a puzzle. If she could just put them together right. Her computer beeped. A new message, heavily encrypted. She started breaking it down, and her eyes went wide. "Wells to Bridge," she called urgently. "Admiral, you need to see this." Minutes later, Reed was back in her office with Amanda Foster. Diana showed them what she'd found. "These are construction plans," she explained, "from before the war. The Dominium didn't just happen to attack our colonies. They planned it for years. And look, they built their bases specifically to stop weapons like the MDA. Amanda studied the plans. But it's not working. Their defenses are failing." "Exactly," Diana said. "They thought they knew everything humans could do. They planned for every weapon they knew about. But the MDA isn't just a weapon. It's alive. It learns. They can't adapt fast enough." Reed's face showed fresh anger. "So they planned to destroy us all along, while pretending to be our friends in the Galactic Council." "Yes, but now it's backfiring." Diana pulled up a map showing their victories. "Each base we destroy was built to stop us. Instead, we're using their own defenses to make the MDA stronger." A new alert flashed on her screen. "Sir, large Dominium fleet detected ahead. At least 30 ships." "They're getting desperate," Reed said. "Time to show them how much that fear is costing them." The Vengeance moved into battle position. Diana kept translating the enemy messages as they came in. "They're trying to coordinate an attack," she reported. "But half their ships want to retreat. They're arguing among themselves." Through her office window, she watched the battle unfold. The MDA's blue beam cut through space, turning mighty alien ships to dust. The Dominium fleet fell into chaos, some ships firing wildly, others trying to run. "Listen to this," Diana called out, playing a translated message. "Fall back. Fall back. The humans cannot be stopped. The Grey Death consumes all." Hour after hour, she recorded their enemies' panic. When the battle ended, 30 more Dominium ships had become clouds of gray ash. The mighty alien fleet that was supposed to stop them had become just another victory. "New message intercepted," Diana told Reed later. "The Dominium's War Council is meeting in emergency session. They're starting to realize just how badly they messed up." Reed looked at the star map showing their path of destruction. "Send them one message from me. You wanted to keep humanity weak. Instead, you made us stronger than ever. Run while you can." Diana sent the message, adding her own touch. She sent it on all Dominium frequencies, so every alien ship and base could hear it. Let them all know that humanity was done being pushed around. The U.S. Vengeance continued its mission, leaving clouds of gray ash in its wake. The tide of war had turned, and the galaxy's mightiest empire was learning to fear the species they had tried to keep down. The U.S. Vengeance flew deep in Dominium space, where no human ship had gone before. Admiral Reed stood with Diana Wells and Amanda Foster in the ship's strategy room, looking at maps of alien territory. "We found something big," Diana said, pointing to intercepted data. "The Dominium's been lying to everyone for centuries. Not just to us, but to the whole galaxy." Amanda nodded, adding her own findings. "Remember those ruins we found on Mars? They weren't just random technology. They were warnings left by ancient humans." Reed looked closer at the data. "Warnings about what?" "About the Dominium," Diana explained. "They've done this before. Find rising species, pretend to help them, then crush them when they get too strong. But humanity was different. When they found us, we already had the ruins. Our ancestors left us a message." The ship's lights dimmed slightly as the MDA powered up for another scan. They were hunting the Dominium's capital world, Anchor Prime. Each jump through space brought them closer. "The weapon remembers them," Amanda said softly, touching her tablet showing MDA readings. "That's why it works so well. It was built to fight the Dominium, thousands of years ago. We didn't build it. We woke it up." Alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Multiple contacts. Lieutenant Hayes called from the bridge. 7 Dominium battle fleets approaching. Reed rushed to the bridge, the others following. Through the main window, they saw hundreds of alien ships filling space ahead of them. "They're not running this time," Diana said, checking enemy communications. "This is their elite force, the ones who guard Anchor Prime." Reed took his command chair. "How's the MDA looking, Foster?" "Strong, sir. Maybe stronger than ever. It wants this fight." The enemy ships opened fire first. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes flew at the Vengeance. But humanity's ship had grown stronger too. Their shields, enhanced by what they'd learned from destroyed Dominium bases, held firm. "Return fire," Reed ordered. "Show them what humanity remembers." The MDA's beam lashed out, brighter than ever before. Where it touched, elite Dominium ships turned to ash. Their special armor, their strongest shields, nothing could stop it. "Sir," Diana called out, "I'm picking up a transmission from Anchor Prime. Playing it now." A deep alien voice filled the bridge. "You don't understand what you've done. We kept your species weak to protect the galaxy. The ancient humans nearly destroyed everything with their power. We swore never to let that happen again." Reed laughed coldly. "You didn't protect anything. You just made us stronger. Every base you built to stop us made our weapon better. Every ship you sent taught it more." The battle raged on. The Vengeance cut through the Dominium fleet like they were nothing. Gray ash clouds filled space where mighty warships had been. "Anchor Prime detected," Hayes reported. It's huge, sir." The planet appeared ahead of them. A massive world covered in crystal cities and orbital rings. The heart of the empire that had kept humanity down for so long. "More enemy transmissions," Diana said. They're begging the ancient humans for forgiveness. They think we've woken up the old powers." Amanda checked her readings. "In a way, we have. The MDA is at full power now. It remembers this place. It remembers what they did." Reed stood, looking at the Dominium's capital world. "Send them a message. Tell them humanity doesn't need ancient powers to defeat them. We did this on our own. Their mistake wasn't waking old weapons. It was making us angry enough to build new ones." The Vengeance moved toward Anchor Prime. Unstoppable now. The ship that had started as humanity's last hope had become the galaxy's most powerful weapon. "They're evacuating the civilian areas," Diana reported. running scared from the power they tried to keep us from having. Reed nodded. Good. Let them run. Let them tell everyone how humanity broke free. And let them remember. Next time they think about keeping a species weak, remember what happened when they tried it with us. The mighty capital of the Dominium lay ahead, its crystal towers shining in their star's light. Soon, those towers would be ash, just like all the other bases that had stood in humanity's way. The ancient humans had left warnings. The Dominium should have paid attention. Now they would learn why some species should never be kept down. Anchor Prime filled the Vengeance's view screen. The planet's orbital defense ring glowed with power, thousands of weapons aimed at the single human ship. Lieutenant Hayes had never seen so many guns in one place. Final count on enemy defenses. Admiral Reed asked. 3 defense rings, sir. Each one stronger than anything we've faced, Hayes reported. They're using their best shields, powered by the planet's core itself. Amanda Foster's voice came through the comm. The MDA is ready, sir. It's different now. Stronger than ever. Like it knows this is what it was made for. Reed stood at the center of his bridge. This was the moment that would change everything. One ship against the greatest fortress in the galaxy. Enemy commander requesting to speak. Diana Wells called out, putting them on screen. A tall alien appeared on their display. Its crystal-like skin shimmered with fear. This is High Commander Voss of the Dominium. Your ship has already proven its power. There is no need for more death. You should have thought about that before attacking our colonies, Reed answered. Before Titan. The colonies can be rebuilt, Voss said quickly. We will help. We will share our true technology. Just don't use that weapon here. If Anchor Prime falls, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Hayes watched his tactical screen as more ships joined the defense rings. The Dominium was throwing everything they had at stopping them. But he could see their fear. Every ship kept its distance, afraid of the gray death that had destroyed their fleets. Sir, Diana called out, getting massive energy readings from the planet. They're evacuating. Millions of transport ships are leaving the surface. Reed nodded. They know what's coming. Foster, is the MDA ready for full power? Yes, sir, Amanda answered. But there's something you should know. The weapon, it's showing me things. Images. I think they're memories from the ancient humans. This isn't the first time the Dominium has faced this weapon. Through the windows, they could see the transport ships fleeing. The mighty Dominium, who had bullied the galaxy for centuries, was running from a single human ship. Hayes, Reed ordered, target the main defense ring. Let's show them history repeats itself. The MDA fired. Its blue beam, now bright enough to light up space itself, struck the orbital ring. The strongest shields in the galaxy turned gray and crumbled. Behind them, the mighty weapons that had protected Anchor Prime for centuries dissolved into clouds of ash. Second ring targeted, Hayes reported. Another beam, another cloud of gray dust where mighty defenses had been. Wait, Voss called out. Please, we surrender. The Dominium surrenders to Earth. Reed raised his hand, and Hayes paused the attack. Why should we accept? You didn't show mercy to our colonies. Because you've already won, Voss said. Look around you. The species we tried to keep weak has destroyed our strongest fleets. Our mightiest bases are clouds of dust. We surrender, and we will pay for our crimes. Diana checked her screens. Sir, they're broadcasting the surrender on all channels. The whole galaxy is watching. Reed looked at the mighty capital world, its remaining defense ring powerless against them. Your surrender comes with conditions. Humanity takes its place as a full equal in the galaxy. All your limits on our technology end today. And you help us rebuild every colony you destroyed. Yes, yes to all of it. Voss agreed quickly. The Dominium acknowledges humanity's power. We were wrong to try to contain you. Please, just spare our capital. Hayes watched his admiral carefully. This was the moment they'd fought for. The chance to break the chains that had held humanity back for so long. Send ships to Titan, Reed ordered. Find any survivors. Find my daughter. Do that, and your capital can stay standing. The bridge crew held their breath. The MDA hummed, ready to reduce the greatest city in the galaxy to ash if the answer was wrong. Already done, Voss said. Search ships are heading there now. You have my word. We will find any survivors. The age of keeping humanity down is over. Reed looked out at the mighty planet, its remaining defenses useless against them. Remember this day, he told Voss. Remember what happened when you pushed humanity too far. Next time you think about keeping a species weak, remember the great death we brought to your doorstep. The mighty Dominium had fallen to a single human ship. The chains were broken. A new age was beginning. 3 months after the surrender at Anchor Prime, Admiral Reed stood in Earth's largest spaceport. Ships from every alien race filled the sky above, no longer as conquerors but as equals. The U.S. Vengeance sat proudly on display, its black hull gleaming in the sunlight. Admiral, a familiar voice called out. Reed turned to see Diana Wells running toward him, waving a datapad. The last report from Titan. You need to see this right away. His heart beat faster as he took the pad. After months of searching through the ruins of Titan Colony, after all the lost hope, they found her, Diana said, smiling. Lucy's alive. Reed read the report with shaking hands. His daughter had led a group of colonists to the deep bunkers when the attack came. They'd survived, hidden from the Dominium, waiting for rescue. The transport will land in 10 minutes, Diana added. Amanda's already heading to the platform. They walked together through crowds of humans and aliens. The spaceport was packed for today's ceremony, the signing of the new Galactic Charter. But Reed could only think about his daughter. The transport ship landed softly, its doors opening with a hiss. People started walking out, blinking in Earth's bright sun. Then he saw her. Dad. Lucy Reed broke into a run. She looked thin and tired, but alive. So wonderfully alive. Reed hugged his daughter tight, not caring about the tears on his face. I thought I'd lost you, he whispered. I knew you'd come, Lucy said. When we heard about the Grey Death, about what the Vengeance was doing, I knew it was you. Amanda Foster joined them, grinning. The hero's family reunion. Perfect timing. The ceremony's about to start. They walked together to the main platform. Representatives from every species in the galaxy waited there. The mighty Dominium leaders, once so proud, now stood humble among equals. The MDA's been quiet, Amanda told Reed as they walked. Like it knows its job is done. The ancient humans would be proud. Their weapon helped us break free. High Commander Voss stepped forward to meet them. Admiral Reed, the charter is ready. Humanity will have its rightful place among the stars. Reed looked at the document. The new charter guaranteed freedom for all species to develop their own technology. The age of keeping races weak was over. The Vengeance will be remembered, Voss said. The ship that turned our strongest fortresses to ash. The weapon that made us remember why fear is sometimes wise. Not fear, Reed corrected. Respect. That's all humanity ever wanted. A chance to stand as equals. Lucy squeezed his hand. And now everyone knows what happens if they try to stop us. The signing ceremony began. Each species added their mark to the charter, creating a new future. When it was Reed's turn, he signed not just for Earth, but for every race that had ever been told they weren't ready for power. Later, at the celebration, Diana brought more news. The Dominium's keeping their word. They're helping rebuild all our colonies, and they've opened their libraries, everything they kept secret from us. It's all available now. And the MDA? Reed asked. Amanda smiled. Safe and sleeping. Like a guard dog that can rest now that its family is safe. But it'll wake up if we need it again. The galaxy won't forget what happens when you push humanity too far. They looked up at the Vengeance, its black hull now a symbol of freedom rather than war. One ship had changed the galaxy forever. Not bad for a species that was supposed to be too weak for real power. What happens now? Lucy asked. Reed watched humans and aliens mingling peacefully below. Now we do what humanity does best. We grow, we build, we explore. But this time, nobody gets to tell us we're not ready. The sun set on the first day of humanity's new age. The U.S. Vengeance stood proud against the darkening sky, its mission complete. The ship that had turned fortresses to ash had forged something new from those ashes, a future where every species could reach for the stars without chains holding them down. And if anyone ever forgot that lesson, the Vengeance would be waiting, ready to remind the galaxy why you should never, ever tell humanity what they can't do.